James Carpenter with Country Living. Welcome to my channel and thank you for watching my videos. Today's video we're going to talk about burning wood. I've got about 35 years of experience burning wood now, and I'm going to walk you through 35 years of, let's say, connoisseuring the wood burning process. So what you see behind me is a semi-trailer. In the semi-trailer is where we store the wood. There's enough wood in there to burn for at least 2, maybe 2.5 years. So we keep it dry, out of the weather, inside the trailer. Now what I'm not going to do today is I'm not going to go into the process of splitting wood and acquiring wood. That would be a separate video, but that is quite a chore in itself. The primary reason I burn wood is not because I'm trying to save money. I'm a firm believer that if the power grid were to go down, or there would be an interruption with either propane or gas or heating oil, I have a way to keep warm. So it's basically a survivalist type thing for me, even though it does offset somewhat the cost of heating my home. Alright, so now we're at another location much closer to the residential property. This pile of wood is tarped to keep the weather off of it, and it's obviously dry wood ready to go for this year's burn. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some of this wood and we're going to show you the distance from this wood pile to the house, and how it's important that in the early days I used to track this wood through my house into the area where the wood burner was, and the bark and the little wood chips, it just created such a big mess. So I thought that there has to be a better way to do this. So what I did is I installed a door on the side of the house, barn dominium by the way, and I do want to say a barn dominium before they became popular. I built this one in the very early 1980s. So let me grab some wood and show you how this is done. Now this is the access door that I built to keep everything a little bit cleaner. As you can see, it was every bit of 25 feet from the wood pile to the door. So the door, you'll see a little spring here. The spring keeps tension on the door to keep it nice and tight. So we'll open the door. It's a nice solid metal door. This is the latch mechanism. I'll move that for you. That's what latches the door. And then there's the opening into the house, and there's a chute for the wood to slide down into that basket. So basically it's like this. Normally we would put a lot more wood in there than that, but for the video we're just going to show you basically how it's done. Now up here I want you to notice this vent. Okay, this vent, I'll talk more about that once we go inside, but know that this is how the vented air gets out of the building. Okay, so now we're in the area where the wood burner is. Over here, you can see that door that we were at earlier, and you can see the chute, and you can see the bin that the wood goes into. Now this is on rollers, so you can roll it in and out to clean behind it. So we've got Basically, you can store about 3 days worth of burn in here if you stack it right. And then some of the tools, we'll talk about some of the tools. Well, first let's talk about the furnace. The furnace was purchased in the early 80s at TSC. So basically this has a burn chamber inside, and then it has this casing around it. Okay, so what you see here and here are two 8-inch basically duct work, and they go up. One goes that way and the other one goes up into the attic, and it goes that way. So basically this furnace has a thermostat on it. When it reaches a hot enough temperature, the thermostat kicks on, and it originally had 2 fan motors on the back of it mounted down low. Those eventually wore out. So what I put in was basically this plenum system. Okay, so right here behind this door is a filter, and these are cold air return ducts here, and there's another cold air return on the other side of the wall. So the cold air goes through the filter. Inside here is a regular furnace blower. It's a big squirrel's cage. So we replaced the original 2 little blowers on the back of the stove with our own furnace blower. Now again, everything's works off of a thermostat, so when it kicks on, it basically filters the air, blows it into the box, around the burn chamber, out through these 2 8-inch ducts. One of them goes to that end of the house, and the other one goes to that end of the house. And they basically distribute the heat. And then you've got radiant heat that's coming off the stove, which makes this room get considerably warmer than the rest of the house. So what we've done there, and obviously the filter needs changed. I should have done that before I did the video. We've got another blower over here that's tied into this furnace. When that blower kicks on, this blower kicks on, and what happens is it pulls the heat from this room and runs it through this duct and supplies heat to one of the bedrooms. So it draws heat from this room, transfers it to the bedroom. Now, this apparatus here is kind of like your range hood on your stove. You know, you turn it on to draw the fumes and stuff for your cooking fumes away from the house, and it blows them outside. Earlier I showed you that vent outside. So this is where the air comes in, goes here, goes, and it's vented to the outside. So basically, to turn that on, you got this variable speed here. So what happens is if you open this and a puff of smoke comes out, you're not stinking up the whole house. That puff of smoke comes up, gets sucked out of the house, and it goes away. This is on a variable speed, so you can turn it down if you desire, but usually you only have it on, you know, for a few minutes while you add wood to the stove. Okay, so let's talk about some tools. This looks pretty crude. You're going to call it a piece of angle iron, and I'm going to have to agree. But this is used down here. This bucket, by the way, is used as basically a stool. So your ash is down here. Now you can see the ash, but let's get another tool first. Let's put that one down. Let's get this tool. All right, now This is one of the dirtier parts of burning wood, is this ash. So what I've found over the years is that if I take it out of here very slowly and I take it down to this stainless steel pan and I dump it slowly, I don't have all that dust popping up and getting all over everything. So bring it out slow, put it in the ash pan. Okay, so that's basically how that works. I just store my tools up here. Now, let's grab this. This is another piece of angle iron that we welded onto a steel rod. And basically what this is for is to reach back in there to the very back. See how I can drag that forward? That allows me to bring the ash forward. Then once the ash is forward, I can get the rest of it out of there. The stove originally came with a pan, and you would drag the pan out of there and empty the ash pan. And I didn't care for that. That was pretty dusty. Right here it had what was called a shaker, where you could shake. I don't even remember what the tool looked like that went on that. It's been so many years ago that I got rid of it. So for my shaker, I did away with the original grate, and I made a grate out of rebar, a lot stronger. So you take this in here like this, you turn it upright, and can you see that pretty good? See that little bit of shaking I'm doing there? That's bringing that ash down. It's in the burn chamber. Okay, so we bring the ash down that way. And then we can clean some more of it out of there. So basically what I'm saying is that I took the original stove, and over those 35 years I've come up with my own modifications to burn the wood to make this process as clean as I possibly can, as smokeless as I possibly can. Okay, so very little dust generated there. Now this little guy here basically controls how much air is going to go into that burn chamber. If you open it up all the way, you're going to burn real hot. If you close her down all the way, it's going to be a very slow burn. Obviously over the years I found out that slow burns are not good because you get a lot of creosote built up in your chimney, and that can create problems. Now back here we have a brush. So about once a year, every spring, you go up there on the roof, you take the cap off the chimney and run the brush down through there and clean it out. And then everything falls into a 90 back here. So I've got these two tools here where you can reach in there and drag the stuff out of that 90 in the back. So on the burn chamber itself, I've had to modify this a little bit because the seal inside the door here gets worn and loses its tension. So this allows me to get more tension on there. So now basically what we got, let me get a flashlight. There's your burn chamber. Now you can see the grate down there where I shook it and stuff. I didn't clean this out as clean as I could, but I could kind of rake that stuff a little bit with that other tool I showed you earlier and get that completely cleaned out. But those fire bricks in there has been in there 35 years and we're still working just fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start a fire for you. Now, I'm not supposed to know this, but I'm getting a Christmas present this year from the Morgans, their channel. I know they ordered me some of that fire starter stuff, so I'll end up using that. But for today, since I haven't opened that Christmas gift yet, I'm going to use from the paper shredder. I've got some paper from the paper shredder. I'm going to put that in there. Okay, and I'm going to put some smaller pieces of wood in there. These smaller pieces of wood here, this is hardwood, but it's from the shop when I do woodworking. I just save the scrap for purposes like this. This stuff will ignite just a little bit faster. Okay, now we'll put a couple pieces of bigger wood on top. Okay, I am kind of looking forward to that fire starter because right now I use an accelerant, the same thing you would use a charcoal lighter for the grill. I'll soak this down a little bit. And we'll take a lighter. We'll get her lit. I'm gonna open this draft door for now, let a lot of air in there. So Mike, if you're watching, I guess this charcoal lighter fluid works pretty good too. But I am looking forward to your, I'm gonna turn the fan on just in case any smoke comes out of there. There is a little bit of smoke coming out. I'm gonna go ahead and, what I can do for now, close that door like that. Alright, so I hope this video was a good informational video for you. But with 35 years experience, I feel like I've pretty well mastered burning wood. I've got it down to where I can keep the area clean. The ash, I use the ash on the garden. The wood, we can talk about sourcing wood, but I obviously have ways of doing that economically, by the way. And here in a few minutes, the stove's going to be extremely warm, and the blower will kick on, and the propane that we're currently using with the furnace will basically go dormant as long as I have the wood burner going. I have to service this probably 4 times a day. So I service it before I go to bed. I get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, I service it then, and then I service it sometime early morning and sometime mid-afternoon. So it needs attention about 4 times a day. And again, don't burn them too low, because you will cause your chimney to creosote up. And I've had that happen in the past, and the whole house gets smoked. Even that fan can't keep up with it. I want to thank you for watching my video. I hope this information was beneficial. Thank you, and have a great Christmas.